Hi, welcome back to the land of Kakiak. I'm Laurel and I homeschooled my three boys using the Robinson curriculum as our base. I am in the process of bridging them from their elementary, early beginning years to the RC method. The goal I'm talking about today is a goal of an essay a day, and how do we get there? So today I'd like to submit to you a assignment that is one of my favorite assignments that they do. It is a transformative exercise. It takes reading comprehension and gets it onto the page, but without very much writing. I'll show you how. So previously I've been sharing with you our language arts sequence, how I am bridging the kids from being complete novices to reading and into writing and all the little components along the way that I like to add in. Give them those stepping stones on the way to their big goal of an essay a day. Something that I think is valuable for them to be able to do is to summarize. So this started out when we were younger with just a lot of oral, me asking them, so what happened in the story? And so we've done some talking, some prompting, but I wanted them to be able to, not in the not too far future, be able to read and take notes on what they read on their own and summarize the key point, the big takeaways. This is going to be a study skill. This is going to be a life skill that will serve them whenever they want to learn something, when they're, 14 or 40 or, 80, I want them to have this skill. So where do I start? So I start by using whatever their independent reading books are. And I start this pretty young. So independent, this is one of my bridge program books, the Arthur Scott Bailey, The Tuck Me In Tales. So I use these to bridge them into their independent reading. So right now I'm going through these. I've printed out, I usually print out 4 at a time and bind them all together. And then I read them with my son, and we just take turns, one paragraph each, right? Each chapter. So I like these because they actually don't have any illustrations. It's just text, right? I found these vintage covers online and put them in PowerPoint and made my own cover for the 4 stories that are in there. But these Project Gutenberg printables don't have any illustrations. My son is still 6. He's not able to write out his thoughts, his notes, right? His chapter notes. So what I've done to modify that assignment is to make it, I call them comic summary notes, right? So I have this I've made for them, and I just have them, do it in half. And then after he reads a chapter, we say, okay, how could you put that into pictures? What was the highlight maybe of the chapter? Or could you represent what happened in the chapter? In picture form. I let them pick how they want to express themselves, their thoughts. And then for chapter, you could have them write the name of the chapter and then put a caption in, maybe a quote or, their own, something from their own mind. My son's isn't there yet, so I'm just having him do chapter, and he can put the number, and then the caption we're actually just having him write in, or sometimes we do it. Here, he did that one. The title of the chapter, because the titles tell you quite a bit in themselves about what happened in the chapter. The first chapter was called Beauty and the Blossoms, and this is from the Betsy Butterfly. And so he drew, the butterfly, and he drew, I think this is Mrs. Ladybug, and she's talking to the moth, and she says, "You are ugly." He wrote the little bubble caption, because she's kind of hating on Betsy because she's jealous. But anyways, I try to encourage him to color, and stuff like that. And then, when they get done, then they flip it over, and then if, when they get done with fill up one, I can give them another one. I do like to print them single-sided, and you'll see why in a second. So say we get through a whole story. I'll show you the last one we did, which was on Benny Badger. And this is actually an assignment that's in my Teachers Pay Teachers store, my Land Kekiak store, and I'll link to it below if you want to get it. But it's just the cover. And I give some notes, right? Some like a little instruction page. Let's say when they're all done, they have all these pages of just like their beautiful little illustrations, right? And it helps him to look back. A lot of times when we start a new chapter, I say, what happened? Where did we leave off, right? And he can like reference back to these. And I just keep them, as they fill up, I just put them in a folder. And at the end, he spreads them all out and he can fill out a storyboard. So I actually thought storyboard, I intended it to be, I thought he was going to do it in pictures again. We say where and when, who, good guy. I thought he would just draw a picture of like Benny Badger or something. But he actually, like, on his own, he wanted to write it. He started writing it. So I'm not going to stop him from trying to write, So he did that. And then I have a blank comic strip, which he said he wanted just to go on to the next story. He didn't want to keep working on this one, so that's fine. But, if you have a really artistic child that wants to, like, put their thoughts, to condense their thoughts, and this is supposed to be getting to the summarizing the whole book, right? So you have to... there's a little too much, right, in the chapter summaries. So you have to condense some of the information and they'd have to make that decision to pick and choose what was the most important things. Like what were the most important points of the book or highlights and climaxes and things. So they could, I think that's good. I mean, I'm going to try to get him to do it for this next book we do. But, so I think I think that this is like the most fun assignment. I just love seeing when they read a book without illustrations, how they like see that in their mind. And I will say for Benny Badger, so Betsy Butterfly, all these insects are talking about like he's seen them in real life. But Benny Badger, he hadn't seen a lot of the animals. Like there's like a prairie chicken, So it was fun. We would sometimes look up, we just like Google images of some of the characters. Like there was a deer mouse. So, we printed him out a deer mouse, right? And then we printed him out, a badger, of course. And it's so fun because he could get curious about stuff and he could look into these characters too. There was a squirrel, so I got a squirrel drawing. Do you guys want to know what a prairie, oh, look at this fox. Do you guys want to know what a prairie chicken is? I was like, I have to know. It's this little bird. Anyways, it's fun. And you can like pick up information on these animals as you're pulling the pictures. And if you're also, and I'm going to make a separate video about this, but if you're also using these stories for science curriculum, hold on to anything you come across, right? Those were his reference drawings. And then I just like to keep all this stuff, all the extras and blanks. And when it's complete too, I just took it, I put it in the complete section into his reading folder. Right? I just like to keep things organized. So that is the comic book summary chapter notes assignment. And I think this will be really helpful. It's training his mind to think in these terms of what were the key points, what were the takeaways, who are the main characters, is there something that's happening, a pattern that I see developing in this story? Am I drawing the same thing over and over? And then making that decision, he's got to discipline himself to summarize in his comic strip at the end, his final comic, what was the most important, right? What's extraneous detail and what's supporting the story. So I think that's a good exercise for them, and it's fun. It's nothing you have to like grade, and it doesn't take very long at all, and it doesn't feel like work because they're like, you know, drawing. It doesn't feel like work to them. I swear, if I give my kids like one more worksheet or workbook, they're gonna revolt. So they're not having it. So I think this would also be good for people if you have like reluctant writers. Like there's so many artistic kids out there that are just dying. I think I was one of these kids. I was just dying for someone to let me be creative in school, right? Okay, so what happened in the beginning of your story?
That I drew that.
Chapter 1 is called A Great Digger.
That Benny Badger was digging and a squirrel snuck in behind him when he was wheezy.
Then what happened here?
He chased him away.
And what is Benny trying to do here at the beginning of the story?
Not dig for Benny. No dig for Benny.
Yeah. He's trying to find dinner, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to hunt. So that's what happened at the beginning of the story. So that's what you'd write here. You would write, Benny hunts for dinner.